Magda thinks my art is tacky. Oh, Magda, the fact that you still think your opinion matters to me at all is adorable.
How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion!
Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies, it's just a fact, and it's totally science. Go ahead, look it up. Thanks so much. We're getting back to that crazy mother-in-law Magda today. Looking at what we got here, it might actually be the last one, and I don't know how it could escalate any more than Magda being mauled by two Rottweilers in the last episode. If you missed that, link in the description. It's a good one. So I guess we'll just have to see how it goes today, so let's jump into it and do the thing. Magda hired people to stalk me. I mean, at this point, she beat a dog to death with a crowbar, okay? I'm not surprised by anything Magda does anymore. You want my jaw to gape in shock and horror? Well, you're gonna have to up the ante a little bit. Anyway, I got a bunch of messages from people asking for an update. Luis received a call from one of our cousins asking why a beige Toyota Camry is following me around. I drive by his shop frequently because it's a couple of blocks away from my house. He noticed it a few weeks ago, but wanted to make sure, just in case. He gave Luis the plate number, and I gave it to our lawyer. Amateur stalkers, honestly, you're supposed to get it from the rental car company. They're gonna run that plate number, find your name and address, bing, boom, in a hurry. This is why it's always worth it to shell out money for a professional stalker, if that's something you're going to do. I don't know why I'm giving advice. Before the lawyer gets back to us, I get a call from one of Magda's caregivers. He tells me that Magda has convinced herself that I am plotting to kill her and my brother-in-laws with cartel assassins. And we're just presuming that because OP's Mexican, I guess? They're all involved with the cartel. Some people, I assume, are good people. But they're sending us a lot of problems.
We're going to build the wall. We have no choice. We have no choice.
Magda has hired private security at the house and private investigators to follow me around. All this money she has, she don't know what the hell to do with it. Give it to me, Magda! We're going to start selling the most random assortment of merch you've ever seen. 8-inch lead pipes, vials of spine powder, Milady bath bombs for the discerning gentlemen. Trust me, it's a worthy investment, for reals. The private security pats them down and checks their bags and waves a metal detector wand at them. The investigator comes 3 times a week and brings stacks of photos. I don't know him, but he's a regular customer of my older brother's tattoo parlor where my oldest works part-time. The cousin recognized the PI from photos in Magda's house. The phone number is still in Magda's phone, which is how he got a hold of me. He said he was concerned for my safety because this crazy old rich lady definitely has it in for me. What you gotta do, OP, is lean in. Lead her on a wild goose chase cross-country that will make sure that she runs out of money. Then she'll die alone and destitute, and you win at that point. So lawyer calls back, confirming that beige Toyota belongs to that shady PI company. Lawyer tells them that they're participating in violating a restraining order and reports it to the police. As expected, the police do nothing because the investigators did not make contact with me. Lawyer is still taking care of it, or attempting to take care of it, I guess. Them polices, they don't give a damn. They're like, I don't know, what do you want me to do, file a report? Yes, you idiot, that's exactly what I want. I feel violated in every way possible. I don't feel safe in my home, and I don't feel safe in public. I was willing to stay and remodel the house, but this is some next level BS. She's trying to run you out of town, that's what's happening. I don't know if I'm truly okay with being so geographically close to my husband's completely batshit family. I mean, there is an easy solution for that.
Divorce.
My daughter stopped playing club soccer because of bullying. A bunch of Magda's friends volunteer for the club, and their granddaughters have shut my daughter out socially. Magda's #1 golden grandson teenage sister-in-law also pays for the soccer club, and has gleefully led the campaign to shut out my daughter. I mean, surely there's a solution for that too. She starts practicing at Crosstown Soccer Club and then comes back and kicks the shit out of all the people that were bullying her. That sounds like justice in the making. What hurt her the most was when they called her a race traitor when they heard her speaking Spanish. No es bueno. They sent her some really messed up stuff via Snapchat. I am so upset for her because she has a very promising soccer career ahead of her. She was being scouted, and I worry that she won't have the same exposure if she's just playing for her school. Yeah, that's why you go join the Crosstown thing, right? I don't know how much female soccer players get paid if they go pro, but there's big money in sports. It's definitely better than flipping burgers. And she seems to enjoy it. So yeah, it's just a matter of working your way around this petty crap. In other news, my brother-in-laws and Magda are suing us. Dear husband's handling those details. He told me this is a classic rich people thing to do. Fight with family members via lawyers for years. Sounds like fun. The lawyers are having a good time at least. Magda regrets settling with us out of court, so she intends on bleeding us dry with lawyer fees. Joke's on her because we don't give a shit. We make plenty of money to support ourselves and our family. The money and assets obtained from suing Magda, all that was just an extra. So if we spent all that money on lawyers fighting her, so be it. I really wish dealing with her crazy ended when my dogs mauled her. Nah, she's out of control. She won't stop until she is stopped. As far as going head-to-head in court, I think that's a good way. It might not bleed her dry as quickly as the cross-country whatevers having the PI chase you around. But you know she don't work. She don't have any income coming in. It's all from her dead husband, and she's gonna squander it. And then die destitute. So we hope. Anyway, musings on my trip to meet Magda. Oh yes, I do love a good musing now and then. After finding out I was being followed by someone paid by my psychotic mother-in-law, I left LA, and I holed up at dear husband's uncle's ranch. Love that. Been meaning to get the hell out of LA anyways. It's so nice to feel like I have privacy, but I miss my husband and big kids. Why didn't you take him with you? What? I guess they got school and stuff. Uncle has assured me that brother-in-laws are not allowed on his property. I've been sleeping better here than I have in almost 2 years. I told dear husband that I'm coming home approximately when I fucking feel like it. Wow, some type of way to speak to your husband, I guess. I'm up for circumventing Magda's schemes as much as anybody else. But this is a gentle reminder to watch your goddamn tone with me, dear. Even though I grew up poor, I went to a very expensive private school on scholarship. My sister was the housekeeper for the chair of the Alumni Association and somehow talked him into getting me into the school on scholarship. Hell yeah! Speech 100. I went to this school and I thrived. I was popular and did well in sports. I made a lot of friends that I'm still close with. My connections I made there helped me get into a good college on scholarship and later helped me land jobs after I finished grad school. I mean, I'd like to rip on you because it did start out with a little bit of luck, but you put in the work to make it all happen, so go off, I guess. I was helping dear husband's aunt move some stuff around their guest house, and there was a framed photo on the wall of my uncle and father-in-law playing golf at their country club, which triggered a memory. Magda has been a shit to me the entire time I've known her. Somehow that doesn't come as a revelation to me. Were you shocked by that, OP? I guess so. On the first trip back to California after dear husband and I got together so our families could meet each other, we went to lunch with Magda. As we were waiting for her, one of my friends from high school was coming out of a restaurant, so we stopped to chat. When Magda walks up to us, she has this weird look on her face, interrupts my friend in mid-sentence, demanding to know how we know each other. Does it matter? Magda and father-in-law belong to the same country club as my friend's parents. Friend looks at Magda like she's totally insane, which she is. Before she could answer, Magda asks if I was her drug dealer. Friend looks genuinely horrified and tells Magda, "No, we went to school together." Magda feigns surprise and asked me, "How my parents afforded it." Friend rolls her eyes, leans in to hugs me, whispers, Don't marry him. His mother is awful. And almost ran off to her car. Honestly, good advice. No matter how much you like the dude, unless he's willing to lay the smackdown on his own mom, he's probably not worth the heartache, as we're seeing, I guess. So that weekend, their country club was having their annual pancake breakfast fundraiser for the Shriners. Father-in-law was the event chair. We go because father-in-law asked very nicely, and dear husband wanted to introduce me to his parents' friends. I wore an appropriate outfit. Magda said I looked embarrassing and dowdy. If I had worn something more flattering, I knew she would say that I was dressed inappropriately. I don't want to say that race is like the main component in all of this, but it definitely seems that way. Magda certainly has some viewpoints. So we get there, and Magda instantly has a crying bitch fit. She was annoyed we didn't bring the kids. The kids were at Luis's house playing with his kids. When asked, the two oldest didn't want to go because going anyplace with Magda means uncomfortable clothes and being nagged to sit still. Magda was pissed because she couldn't play Grandmother of the Year in front of her friends. She kept introducing me using a diminutive of my name, very Anglo-sounding, that nobody has ever called me. Blessed dear husband, he corrected her every time. Cue more crying bitch fits. I wonder what the diminutive is. OP is like, my name is Maria de la Santa Cruz Rosalina Agnalina Rodriguez Kelar Rene. And she's just like, yeah, this is my friend Mary. And OP's like, God, can't call me Mary. Hilarious. Maybe not like super hilarious. OP is probably legitimately offended, but it seems like a rather small thing to get twisted up over. Although I guess the reasoning behind it is the main reason she's twisted up. And Magda probably did use it as a way to get under her skin. Only solution there, don't let her win. Introduce yourself as Mary, that's fine. Anyway, my friend I saw at lunch was there with her parents and husband. I'm talking to them, and then Magda butts in and saccharine sweet asks them how they know me, using that name that nobody calls me. Friend's mom looks confused, and Magda points at me. See, Magda, nobody even knows who the hell you're talking about. Friend's mom says daughter, and OP went to high school together. Friend's mom turns to me, grabs my hand, and says, you were my favorite of her friends. I know your influence kept friend out of trouble. If the two of you were hanging out together, I didn't worry. Thank you for setting me up with Luis. My yard has never looked better. And Magda's crying bitch fit could be seen from space. And yet, somehow, regrettably, she survived it. Friend's mom sees one of her friends and takes me away from Magda for introductions. The more people that friend's mom introduced me to, the more angry Magda looks. Good, keep doing it. Maybe your face will stay that way. Nobody will know the difference. Friend's mom introduces me to a very well-known Mexican soap opera actor, and I see Magda making a beeline to dear husband out of the corner of my eye, and she's looking at me while pointing her finger into his face. Oh, Lord, you gonna let your mother talk to you like that? You're a grown man. You better grab your balls right now, son. Find them real quick.
Ah, how did these get up here?
As soon as I'm alone, Magda grabs my arm and pulls me to a quiet corner. Know your place, she hissed. You're just a temporary comfort. People like us are on another level from people like you. You might have conned your way into that private high school, but I will never let you into this family. She squeezed my arm so tightly that it left a bruise. Is this really how rich people shit goes? I really have no idea. I'm completely removed from all of this. I'll tell you this much, I totally believe it happened. As soon as we're in the car on the way home, dear husband told me that Magda isn't comfortable with how I was all over that Mexican soap opera star in front of her friends. She told me that it wasn't a good idea to let the kids meet me so soon. If we got married, I wouldn't love him like late wife did. Late wife was an asshole of epic proportions, but she was also Magda's doormat. I'm having trouble reconciling those two statements existing in the same person at the same time, but I guess if you just think of late wife like Magda's little lapdog, then it makes a lot more sense. And of course, all of that reminded ROP that a few days later, We had a family dinner with Magda, father-in-law, dear husbands, siblings, and families. I can't remember what we talked about, but it was all just a series of little jabs at me. Come on, everybody's in on it? You might be being a little bit oversensitive. I'm going to need some examples before I can give a proper diagnosis here. I went outside to get some fresh air. Magda's cook comes outside. She still works for Magda, by the way. With a low, quiet voice, in Spanish, she asks if I love dear husband. When I respond yes, she told me to keep him in Florida, because if we move back to California, Magda will do everything she can to destroy my life. And she wasn't lying neither. She then told me that Magda ordered her housekeeper to remove all the valuable things from downstairs because she was worried that I would steal from her. She said she could tell I was a good mother to dear husband's children, and she could see I was a kind and patient person by the way I responded when Magda repeatedly insulted me. Oh yeah, well if her cook signed off, then you're in like Flint. It was a good pro tip though. Why would you ever move to California? Why? If she said the reason, I forgot it. But yeah, no matter what the reason was, you knew that this was going to end in disaster, didn't you? After this trip, Magda decided that I was an uneducated illegal immigrant out for dear husband's money. It pisses me off all over again that his brothers just seem to go with it. Yeah, nobody seems to want to fight Magda, lest you become the next target of her ire. But I guess going with it is a little bit different than like dogpiling on. I don't know, maybe give him some credit for that, I guess. OP says, I'm thankful to Magda's domestic staff, who have always been decent, hardworking people, taking pity on me. It feels weird to be that person. I've been with dear husband for over a decade, and her lifestyle is still totally foreign. I still feel like I'm pretending when we go do rich people stuff with his family, like sitting in the first section at Laker games or attending museum fundraisers. I hope they all fuck off and get incurable skin fold fungal infections. Well, if that's the case, darling, I'll just take you to see my dermatologist. We'll have that cleared up in a hurry. I would love to do some rich people stuff. But I think having a bit of imposter syndrome is much better than sitting there and being like, I deserve this. I'm better than all of these other people. Which is basically exactly how Magda and possibly dear husband's brothers feel about all this. Interesting indeed. Still just a lot to unpack. We'll move on into the next post. Magda tries to buy our family photos. Classy. I've been using the same photographer for family photos for years. He's the younger brother of the other scholarship kid at our fancy private high school. He's fairly successful now, and easy to find on the internet. We've worked on many projects together over the years and are Facebook friends. He is definitely aware of the Magda-related drama. Well, good on you for supporting his small business, OP. You can order prints from my photographer's website using an access code. Magda, years ago, had the code because she paid for our wedding photos. A few days ago, she logs in and places a huge order of photos. Specifically, none of the photos with me in them. She ordered nearly 100 prints of my daughter's quinceañera, which is a sweet 15 party, and the family photos we took for this year's Christmas card. See, look at this idiot that doesn't know how to spend her money. What are you doing, Magda?
I don't know, man. You've been seeming sus lately.
She's plotting a plan, but I guarantee you it's stupid and stilted and probably horrible too. Thankfully, one of his office people called to confirm the address for the photos and offered to personally deliver them because shipping would get expensive for the larger prints. Magda had ordered a poster-sized print of my youngest big kid on the dance floor with the baby. My stomach absolutely turned. I explained that my mother-in-law was a psycho and needed to have her access revoked. In the spirit of just no mill, I instructed the lovely admin to refund her money and send an equal amount of prints of me. It was expensive, but it felt so good, so worth it. I wonder how she felt when she got the poster-sized print of a particularly unflattering photo of both of us taken at my wedding. I do love that. She just threw it away, but the look on her face was probably super priceless. I'm surprised you didn't use Magda's money to fund it, but yeah, that's bad money. There's many strings attached to it. Much better to just shell out of your own pocket, I guess. So Magda receives the photos and sends brother-in-law 3 to confront dear husband. Brother-in-law 3 comes to our house while dear husband and Luis are working on the front yard. They start arguing and dear husband tells him that he's going to call the cops. The sole reason I'm posting this is because Luis got brother-in-law 3 with the garden hose.
Please get off my property.
He's just always got that hose in his hand. I don't know what the hell the deal is. Just like with Magda, Luis hosed brother-in-law 3 to his SUV and got a ton of water in the interior. I wasn't able to witness it in person, but it was caught on our security cameras. Oh, that's one to save for the archives for sure. Brother-in-law 3 and dear husband are arguing, waving their arms around, and Luis comes around the corner and BAM! Full-on soaking with the sprayer. We have a long driveway, so having the hose on full blast for 80 feet feels like an eternity. Did he run? Most people would probably run. Maybe he's trying to maintain some form of dignity because he's a rich, stick-up-his-ass kind of guy. He's just like, I'll speed walk away from this. No, my phone's not waterproof, but I'll buy a new one. Hope he says, I'm getting better at dealing with this BS. I decided to come back home because I missed my family. We're fixing the house up and moving to Northern California. I decided to resign from my job and focus on more freelance work. Hell yeah, dude. There's something to be said for being a digital nomad, you know? And there's something even more to be said for getting the hell away from Magda. Part 3 of 3. The final Magda post is on the horizon. So let's slap a bow on this turd and call it done. Magda thinks my art is tacky. Oh, Magda, the fact that you still think your opinion matters to me at all is adorable.
How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion!
Mulling over this memory, I'm mad at myself for just taking it. I always just took it. I wanted to be a good daughter-in-law. My mom is a great mother-in-law and has a close, mutually respectful relationship with her daughters-in-laws. Ziz. I thought there was something wrong with me because Magda was so terrible. Yeah, don't bother internalizing that. Just look at it objectively. You'll be like, oh, she treats everybody who isn't a rich white person exactly like this. I guess I won't take it too personal. OP says, even when my mother and sisters and sister-in-laws tried to convince me that it wasn't me, I still thought it was me. Yeah, that's when we start doing a little bit of soul searching. Truth is out there. You can find it. I know it. What a good song. What a fucking jam. When dear husband and I met, we hit it off instantly. We closed on our first house 14 months to the day after we met. It was ridiculous. I was madly in love with him, so I wanted to give his parents a piece of my art for their upcoming big anniversary party. A lot of you are artsy folks, so giving your handicrafts does say a lot about how much you care for the person you've given it to. I painted a 5x7 portrait of them in an English garden setting. And that's 5 foot by 7 foot. Absolutely gargantuan portrait. Also, buying a house after 14 months, a little bit sus, especially knowing he has a rich family and stuff like that. I don't know. It could be because you were legitimately in love with him, but think of how it looks to an outside observer. I don't want to side with Magda, for God's sake. But 14 months to the day, I don't know. It sort of paints a picture. Anyway, the idea of a large formal portrait of Magda and father-in-law in oil paints was very positively received by dear husband and the brother-in-laws. They gave me lots of great style input, and over the course of 6 months, I painted the damn thing. Yeah, a lot of forethought went into that. Even if I absolutely hated the gift, I would know how much work went into it. Just smile and say thank you, Magda. Is that really so hard? I was in constant communication with Magda's interior decorator too, because I wanted this painting to be perfect. I bought outrageously expensive pigments and made my own oil paints. I bought high-end canvas imported from India. I spent most of my free time working on it. Being obsessed with pre-Raphaelite imagery, I painted a highly detailed and lifelike portrait. This project consumed me, and dear husband encouraged it because it was something that Magda would love. She definitely would love it if it came from anybody else except the person she hates. When I showed the interior decorator the finished product, he loves it. Brother-in-laws and all their wives love it. Everybody is happy. Brother-in-laws and dear husband pitch in and buy an ornate frame, and it gets hung up in the foyer. Shit, man, I want to be rich enough for my house to have a foyer. Yes, meet me in the foyer. The sitting room is just there. I'll have Chauncey bring out some tea and biscuits. Oh, Chauncey! It would be so fun. But then it comes with a bunch of rich people problems. I guess it's not worth it, really. OP says, I'm a professional artist, and I was for many years before I met Magda. Painting is my side art, while illustration and graphic design are my main art. I have a postgraduate education in fine art and art history, and I still do commissions for this interior decorator. Damn, look at you networking. Good job. So we get together and unveil the painting to Magda, and she was impressed until the decorator told her that I painted it. Her face changes in a flash, asking why they thought this would be an appropriate gift. This painting is tacky schlock garbage. I get intensely nauseous. I had to put my everything into that piece, and she said it looked like a gaudy knockoff from a hotel conference room art show. The room starts spinning. I go out to the patio to collect myself, but instead I just vomited directly into a planter. Yeah, after 6 months of work, all the money that went into it, time that you can never get back. God, this was like an olive branch. And she slapped that shit out of your hands, stomped on it, lit it on fire. I'm sort of also upset on your behalf, OP, that you didn't bite back on this one. That is just painful. So dear husband's niece storms out of the house with my purse, cursing about disrespect, and tells me to get in the car because she can't stand this shit anymore. She drove me back to the condo that we were staying in. I am ugly crying while she's ranting about being in a family full of beautiful assholes. The outside might be beautiful and bleached. The inside is probably shit-filled and cancerous. When we get to the condo, I just went to bed. I had a headache from my intense crying. Yeah, that's a lot. Dear husband rug swept this so hard, he wouldn't even talk about what happened. Yeah, because I mean, again, that's a lot. We distracted ourselves with work projects. Dear husband brought it up in counseling, and all that hurt came back. He talked about the shame he felt when the oldest big kid asked if Magda liked the painting, and he lied and said it got broken on the way. Oof. This period of time is when niece went no contact with Magda. She was living on the East Coast, going to the anniversary party because it was her last-ditch effort to have some sort of relationship with Magda and father-in-law. This niece had it rough because she is an exact physical copy of Magda and did not want to be Magda's clone. They had a huge blow-up after the party. Niece took the painting from Magda and went home to New Jersey. She still has it. I'm glad niece took it instead of Magda throwing it away. I still consider it the best painting I've ever done. There's no point to this little story. I'm just sort of pissed off about the painting again, and rightfully so. And I'm glad that it gets hung up in somebody's house and proudly displayed as it should be. I think the real tragedy would be if it ended up in the garbage. I would ask you, as the artist, to deface the painting a little bit. Maybe put some devil horns and like a little mustache on Magda or something. That could be fun, huh? Then we get a laugh every time we look at it. Anyway, Magda demands time with my baby. No, you don't get to make any demands here, Magda. Magda sent us an email with several of Instagrammed photos from the kid's account attached. Magda would like to meet her grandchild for 10 minutes while supervised by a third party of my choosing. Magda is the baby's grandmother, so it's cruel to deprive her of this relationship. Contact information was provided. I forwarded the letter to our lawyer. Don't stop believing, Magda. Yeah, no contact means no contact at all, ever. In perpetuity, moving forward. And then there's like a few months span of no post, but then OP comes back on April 22nd. You remember what happened on April 20th, don't you? We discussed it in a previous post. OP will remind you though. She says, this is my stream of consciousness because I can't talk to people in my real life because they just don't fucking get it. I mean, I think they get it on some level. It's just sort of a hard thing to respond to in real life, in the moment. Let's just all demonstrate a bit more understanding, I guess is what I'm saying. OP says, 420 is hard for me. I'm a California pothead. The worst day of my life happened to fall on 420. I was in a car accident that killed my fiance and unborn daughter of 32 weeks. The guy who hit us didn't end up doing any jail time because life is grossly unjust. I'm just a ball of emotions right now. I think we all have those days, and it's all right. You just acknowledge it, and you take it a little bit slower than usual. If you go through my posting history, you can follow her total meltdown, Magda being her in this case. Even though everyone says I've been a total badass, I feel like I've been a spineless coward for letting her microaggress for so long. The postpartum depression struggle is frickin' real. I wanted a baby for so long, and when I got pregnant, I was so happy until Magda tried to take over. When I wouldn't let her take over, she flips out and ruins my goddamn life. You have to understand, OP, she's rich. She doesn't know what it's like not to take other people's things. I don't know if she even realizes it's wrong. It's a joke. It's a joke. My side of the family is really pissed at me because my psycho, rich as hell mother-in-law has turned her harassment to my family members. My parents and siblings are understanding, but extended family, not so much. Me and my family, me, husband, kids, are not welcome at a lot of family functions because of what Magda has done. Do you really have to harass the extended family? That's the lengths that we're going to. I guess it is. OP says, I know she is behind an ICE raid at the body shop that my cousin works at. My cousin, his brother-in-law, and a couple of other guys were arrested and are being held in a detention center. They are undocumented, so they will be deported. One of his coworkers is from Honduras. He'll likely be murdered when he gets back. I don't really agree with undocumented. How about we say it's illegal? They were here illegally, and now they're no longer here. You can come back. Just do it legally. And to be completely fair and impartial, we don't even know for sure if Magda was behind it. She's like, all the bad things that have gone on in my life, it's probably Magda's fault. You're ascribing to her some power, like mystical power. Whatever. I hope Honduras guy doesn't get murdered. I hope you're all able to come back through legal channels, okay? Okay. My sister's an ICU nurse in a major hospital. A flurry of detailed, serious allegations got my sister put on a 6-month administrative leave. On the outside, paid leave doesn't seem so bad, but not knowing if you're getting fired the next day with a permanent stain on your career is terrifying. What are the allegations? Why are we so vague with everything? There's still something really hinky about this. The health department and the organized crime sheriff team raided my brother's tattoo shop. They destroyed thousands of dollars of equipment and supplies. One of his employees was detained because he shared a really common name and birth date and was similarly sized to a man wanted for diddling a toddler. Holy what? This is all really terrible, but again, I don't know if this is Magda's doing. Probably it is. It's too many coincidences, isn't it? Another cousin's husband got arrested because of a really old bench warrant. Yeah, those things don't go away. That's not Magda's fault either. Go take care of your fucking warrant, like... Oh, OP. I'd like to root for you, you know? I can definitely get behind the outrage that the sheriff came and destroyed thousands of dollars worth of equipment. But we're really gonna get upset and make the argument that Magda caused the diddling a toddler guy getting arrested and the bench warrant guy getting arrested? Come on. The tattoo he was getting when the raid happened got infected with MRSA while he was in jail, and he almost died. Does Magda have secret control over Staphylococcus? That's her secret power. It's like an unfortunate series of events, but you can't really blame her for the whole thing. Although maybe you do. She tipped the first domino. But generally, I find it's better practice to only prosecute somebody for something they were directly involved with, right? Maybe wrong. I think right. OP says she donates to xenophobic think tanks in my name. It's just a harmless little prank, isn't it? Many different family members have had CPS visits and visits by cops who deal with organized crime. I wonder if the police, start ignoring her after a certain point, or if she just donates enough to the policeman's ball that she can get them to do whatever she wants. That's presuming she's behind all of this, because really that still hasn't been proven. But I'll say it again, it is quite a long series of coincidences. OP says it really hurts to be frozen out. I can understand why. My psycho mother-in-law has torn families apart and has sentenced a man to death. Ooh, the MRSA guy? He's gonna be fine. Or the coworker from Honduras. Surely that's an extenuating circumstance of some sort. Whatever, don't know, don't care. All this is getting a little bit out of pocket, isn't it? OP says, I don't know what to do. I love my family, but I really miss my departed fiance. His mom's a nice person who is a great mother-in-law to her daughter-in-laws. She brought me a pan of enchiladas after I had my baby last year. My oldest son's girlfriend just bought him a bottle of Dior Eau Savage when she wanted him to wear a grown man cologne instead of Axe. Good choice, honestly. Anything but Axe works really well. I want to collapse in a pile of sadness because I bought it for my departed fiance and it was his everyday scent. Catching that whiff unexpectedly hit me with this overwhelming sad feeling. Yeah, that'll happen from time to time. But that just means that departed husband is still with you in some form or fashion. Maybe he takes solace in that. I don't know. OP says, I don't know if I could deal with him wearing that cologne, but I also feel bad telling him not to wear it. His girlfriend worked hard to earn that money and buy him expensive cologne. I don't want my kids to have to deal with baggage that doesn't belong to them. I love you guys. Thanks for letting me ramble. Yeah, please let the kid wear the cologne. You can have this conversation with your oldest son, be like, please don't wear that, but what about a random guy at the bus station, you know? It's damage that you need to deal with right here and now, instead of sweeping it under the rug and being like, I hope I don't smell that smell again.
A smelly smell that smells smelly.
That's something crazy people would do. Anyway, this next post looks really exciting. Magda died on her terms, and I'm mad about it. Again, you're focusing on the wrong part, OP. Be happy she's dead. Yeah, that's pretty much it. She died in the most Magda way possible. She drowned in her bathtub because she was drunk and on pills. God damn it. Yeah, should have put some Rottweilers in her bathroom. That's the way we really wanted it to go. With fear and terror and teeth and blood. But I don't know. Opiates and alcohol, you kind of knew that would happen. It's a rich people way to go, isn't it? Or a really, really poor people way to go. Whatever. Husband told me that her favorite thing to do when he was a kid was to have a temper tantrum and then hole up in the bathroom for hours, popping pills, smoking cigarettes, and drinking champagne. She would cry while cursing father-in-law and throwing things at the domestic staff. This happens a couple of times per month. It's shocking to me that father-in-law put up with this at all. I'd be like, you can take half in the divorce, but you need to get the fuck out of here. I'm not living like this. OP says, we were informed this morning. It's nice to live in the country now. Husband was on a long hike around our property because he wanted to be alone. He looked offended when I chuckled nervously when he said, I need time to be alone, but not suicidal. Yeah, that's really reassuring. The brother-in-laws want to have a family meeting, and husband refuses. All of the adult grandchildren, except the golden, made it clear that they would not even attend her funeral service. They are also collectively non-contact with their parents. At this point, all of us lurk here and r/raised by narcissists, so we're about the mutually loving and respectful family relationships. This is great. Magda's dead, and we're non-contact with all the shitty people. Husband's family, outside of his parents and siblings, are nice people, and I really enjoy spending time with them. Outside of his parents and siblings, so like the super extended family. The ones who were raised the next state over instead of directly next to the toxic waste dump that is Magda. Makes sense to me. The kids all seem unbothered right now. When we broke the news, the first thing out of my oldest was, are we required to attend the funeral? None of them wanted to go, so there's that. School just started and they're all busy. I shouldn't rejoice for someone dying, but I can't lie, I am delighted. See, there you go. Some good stuff came out of that death. I doubt OP's in the will, but maybe husband got some free stuff, huh? And yeah, I suppose not having to deal with Magda anymore is the greatest gift of all. But there is one final post to get into, and that is Magda manages to harass from beyond the grave. Ooh, spooky.
Hey, everybody, Grandma's here. Hey, Grandma, Grandma.
The holidays are over. We've gone back to our house in the mountains. Things are settling down. We've been home one day when it comes. A full truckload from a 28-foot box truck of Magda's shit with a 5-page, double-sided, rambling letter of nonsense. It's her clothes, shoes, jewelry, scarves, gowns, everything. Bro, just take it to the Goodwill. This isn't the type of free stuff I wanted.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
Give me cash money. Put it in my hand right now. That's what I want. Of course, Magda sends me a truckload of clothes that don't fit me. Of course, she rambles for 5 pages of double-sided, single-spaced, tiny font bullshit. She outlined her continued hatred of me, but did acknowledge that I am US-born with a graduate degree and a legitimate art career, and admits that dear husband isn't father-in-law's. Old news, father-in-law told husband in college. And yet he still stayed with her. No balls. Is that genetic or something? It can't be, because they're not related. Father-in-law and husband, I mean. Anyway, the topper is why she left me with these clothes. Her daughter-in-laws wanted these clothes, but they didn't do enough for Magda in her declining age. She'll leave these clothes to my daughter because I have an art education and will appropriately appreciate all the vintage couture. You don't give a fuck, I don't want none of this. Take it down to Goodwill, for real. This provokes a deep revulsion inside of me. She's been dead long enough where her formal headstone is up and she still manages to fuck with me. I called up the auction house and they told me the house sold and they're selling off the stuff from inside the house. If I didn't want the items, they'd be happy to sell it off for me for a commission. Yeah, cash money. Magda had a good eye for fashion. The collection she curated is pretty good, which makes me even more mad. Screw you, Magda, for spite sending me this truckload of beautiful clothes which I refuse to wear. I now have stupid rich people problems. Best feeling in the world. I mean, not a great feeling, but definitely better than stupid poor people problems, I'll say that. The truckload of fancy clothes has made me cry angry, frustrated tears. When I try to talk to the normal people I know, they're just dazzled by the glittery material possessions. I'm just gonna send that shit back down to LA and let my cousins rummage through it and then donate the rest. I mean, donation's good. Auction house is better. I'm still trying to get a payday. Hey! When I run my hands through the box of silk scarves, the physical sensation of fine silk on my hands is nice, but it smells like Magda. And then that nice silk feeling on my hands feels gross. She ruined Chanel No. 5 and John Nate forever for me. Again, I think that's your own damage, and I hope you get into therapy for it pretty soon. I swear to God, if I end up choking on the baby in the Rosca de Reyes cake tomorrow, I don't know if I'll laugh or cry. So I asked Google, what is the Rosca de Reyes tradition? Google says, inside one of the slices of this circular loaf of bread is a bite-sized plastic toy baby meant to represent Jesus. The person who gets the slice with the inedible toy will owe his family or friends a tamale party on Dia de los Candelaria, which lands on February 2nd. Whatever, frozen store-bought tamales for everybody. I don't give a fuck. Try me next year. OP says, I'm gonna try and finish my frustration crying now while I'm in my truck at the bottom of the driveway. I use these posts as a vent. When I feel my resolve start to waver, I reread my posts and then remember why things are the way that they are. I'm just emotionally rambling, but you all have been great emotional support. Edit, I know I could donate and blah blah blah. My frustration is that it's just another Magda thing I have to deal with. I have to take the time to call the auction house and coordinate shipping and spend brain power on her crap. It just pisses me off because I want to be done with her. And so, she was. As of this writing, OP has not posted about Magda since 2018. And that's January of 2018. Good, I'm glad it's all over. I hope that you pulled some money out of that old biddy. Calling the auction house, coordinating shipping, all that stuff sounds relatively inconvenient until you realize there's a payday at the end of it, and then I'm like, I'll do it. Fuck it, I'll do it. Give me the stuff. It's fine. So what happens to the terrible family now? Do they all just like break up and go their separate ways? Dust in the wind? I guess so. Magda was the matriarch holding them all together. Now they're all off to make their own decisions and probably destroy their children's lives. All in the name of keeping safe a fortune that you can't even take with you. It's sort of poetic in a way, if you really stop to think about it. Really great series of posts. This will be the first Entitled Parents saga on the channel, so I hope you guys will like, comment, and or subscribe if you did enjoy it. If you'd like to see some more things similar to this. Definitely a different type of cringe, but it was a fun ride with a satisfying resolution, and I think that's all we could ask for most days. On the end card, I'm gonna link y'all to some Chris Trucker because, yeah, classic saga as well. The deepest type of cringe. If you haven't seen it or would like to give it another ride, I know you'll enjoy it. Lastly, I just want to say thanks for being here with me today, friends. Always remember that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead and cut them open. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be